What is going on, everybody? Welcome to my Hull C video here. I'm going to go ahead and just save you the trouble. No, autoload does not work. So if that's what you're here for and that's all you care about, you're welcome. We still don't have autoload in this patch. I'll let you know when we do, but it is still something that we're all going to be living without. Now, if you guys want to see why I would fly the Hull C anyway, stick around. We have several missions here on our contract list at the senior level and some experience too, I believe, from 795k up to about 1.7 million just about on some of these, and they're really not that many boxes. 151 SEU from Checkmate to Ruin, since it's still at the last location. Once you get up to these levels, the amount of time it takes for you to load your Hull C manually is well worth the profit that you can make. Though you do need to make sure you're going from an external freight elevator to another external freight elevator, and I'm going to show you this real quick here at the start of the video as well. Anytime you want to know if a station has an external freight elevator, click on it and look for this right here. Loading dock. Please commit that to memory. Anytime anybody asks if you can, or how you can tell there's an external freight elevator, anytime you click on any station, you will see a loading dock. If we go to one that I know does not have it, like Rods, it will not show a loading dock. It does have a commodities terminal for, you know, auto loading that way, though the Hull C still can't do that, because again, we do not have our magic auto loading box right now. But if we go to another station that does have it, like Megumi, when you click on it, and you scroll down a little bit, you will see loading dock. Please, please, please remember that. This is how you use your Hull C. You got to go from loading dock to loading dock. Otherwise, you're adding a lot of extra steps to be able to get stuff inside of a hangar. That said, we're going to get expanded and go ahead and go load the mission we have here at Gaslight. We only took one of the 795k ones here, so we can carry on to another. Let's see, we got somebody up here. I just want to see who they are. Oh, it's Hazard Shield. Awesome. Looks like he's out here maybe watching over us. Sweet. Let's go ahead and head over to our external freight elevators, get loaded up, and then move on. All right, for time's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and go into third person to shoot up here and show you guys how I like to park at these external elevators. I like to get the grids about halfway in, right about there. I'm going to go ahead and stop us so we don't have any extra drift. And then I'm going to come down a little bit, and then we're going to go inward. Because the closer you get yourself, the faster you can move these boxes around. So we're going to go ahead and lock our position there. We got our shields up. Pyro is always dangerous. We are lucky that we have a sort of guardian angel above us right now if he ends up sticking around for this. We're going to unload these boxes real fast and then move on to the next location to pick up some more stuff. A lot of this is going to Ruin, and I'm not going to be showing you guys the entire process of loading and dropping off everything and the entirety of what that would take just for the sake of attention spans. But upon doing each of these loads and drop-offs, I will let you know how long it took. I do have it, you know, right here on my recording software. I can see the amount of time it takes. Our landing gear is still out. Oops. I just want to show that the boogeyman that is loading your own Hull C is not everything people make it out to be. Now, granted, I understand not everybody actually likes cargo hauling. That's okay. We're just going to call a spade a spade. If loading your Hull C manually is really that terrible, then you're not loading any ship manually, because you can load this Hull C and fill it up in roughly the same amount of time that you would fill up any other ship all the way to its brim. Even ships like the Hermes, I'd argue, actually filling it all the way up to the back, because you're looking at around 15 minutes to 20 minutes at the most, depending on how much you're actually picking up. So we're going to send this stuff up. This is not a lot of boxes. You can stay out and use your tractor rifle, which is fast. I'm actually going to run in and use the ship's tractor beams. It also keeps you safe inside, so someone doesn't gank you from outside, since our Hull Cs do have some really good shields and some good armor. This is another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, is that the ship's tractor beams have gotten better. You can toss these 32 SU crates around, rotate them and everything really easily now. All right, I'm going to show you guys a couple of these just to show you what I mean, and then I am going to go ahead and fast forward to us moving on to the next destination. I'm going to tap Q on my keyboard. That way my tractor beam moves a bit more intuitively, and then I'm just going to grab the box, pull it up, give it a little rotate as I go, and place it right on the spindle. This is a lot easier than it used to be now. And as you do it, you get better and better at it. I mean, you're not taking a whole lot of time to articulate these boxes. So we're going to go ahead and speed through this part. I'm taking note that it's we're right at about 23 minutes right now. So we'll see how long it takes to load up this one mission. This is an 800k payout mission right here too. So you don't have to load up all the way. You can load up, you know, what you can tolerate, and then move on, get paid. You know, these missions, even as small as they are, only a couple hundred SEU, pay better than the old 700k missions we all used to love. Now, as we're finished loading this up real quick, what I like to do is actually go like a mission per spindle if I do have different drop-offs. If I can, I'd rather just take everything to the same place, just for simplicity. But I know that this gaslight order is on my forward dorsal spindle, and it is going to Ruin. That way I don't have to confuse anything I'm picking up from any other station, because I do think we have one thing maybe going to checkmate. I'll have to check our contracts. But just like that, we are done. That literally took 3 minutes. 3.5 minutes to load that up. So if that is too much work, I don't know what to tell you, bro. That's a personal problem. Hauling is not for you. So like, this is an 800K payout. So if you're looking at the total time of travel, you're probably going 5 minutes or less to travel to Ruin, depending on your quantum drive, plus another 6 minutes of loading. So in less than 15 minutes, you've made 800K. So I'll leave that up to you guys if you are willing to spend that time, or if hauling with the Hull C is still too scary. All right, we are popping into checkmate now. We're going to see if this one is producing cargo. I should have said this at the outset of the video. I apologize for saying it now, but hopefully this isn't too late for some of y'all. Missions spawning is very inconsistent right now. Even after the maintenance window we had, which was today as of the recording of this video, this was the first server I got into that finally had Redwind missions spawning. People in global seem to be having sort of mixed success versus failure. I had 3 shards in a row fail to actually have any cargo mission show up at their destination, even the ones that were just one destination, like the one we started with over at Gaslight. Redwind line haul is very hit or miss right now. You're going to probably have to shard hop quite a bit to find one that's working. My suggestion is to pull one mission from the place that you're at and then go to the elevator, whether it's in your hangar or the external, and just see if it's there. Before you pull out any ships, before you commit to any hauling, make sure the cargo shows up first. That's going to save you a lot of time. From what I hear, Kovalex is killing it, and even the Interstellar stuff is doing okay. You know, the Ling, the Dead Saints and all. Redwind, for some reason, is struggling, which sucks, because this is the moneymaker. These are the missions that people want to do, especially if you're trying to justify the use of your Hull C. Now, I've given the advice a million times in the past, but when it comes to anytime you're leaving your ship, make sure you close it. Don't leave it open. We are going to wait for this gasket to fully expand and then hit this button right here and start the closing process. That way, nobody is getting on our ship. Now, I know that Cuddy can't pen us. I'm going to check and see if the cargo is here. It is up to you if you decide, depending if you're combat savvy or not, whether you want to try to take them down or just grab your cargo and go. And it looks like we did see it showing up. It was there. So that is good. I think whoever that was, they just quantumed out. Checkmate is a bit more popular. So again, as always, head on a swivel. Yeah, these are coming over super fast. I've had lots of conversations with folks, so the first question is, hey, is the Hull C fixed? The Hull C isn't broken. Magical Autoload box privilege is broken, but that is not the Hull C. That is the back-end communication system. What is actually still broken on the Hull C, and I probably should have said this at the start of the video too, is that if you have cargo on it, it will still spawn in your hangar extended and glitched into the floor. Anytime you dock your Hull C, make sure it is fully empty of cargo and closed. That way you can call it back out. That'll save you a lot of trouble. That is the only problem that I've actually seen with the ship itself. Outside of that, the fact that it doesn't have the autoload privilege is another system not working properly, and it'll eventually come back. But since this is the only ship that actually has that feature, it's kind of funny to me that without that feature, people seem to think that the ship is unusable. And that's where I just kind of laugh. And again, if you don't like hauling cargo, that's one thing. But if you do, you've just been worried about what it's like to auto or to manually load one of these, I give it a shot, man. I think it's enjoyable. It's not too crazy. And we had so much cargo to load this time because these were all, or this was 2 missions worth. That's why. And you can see in just the time that I've talked how many boxes we've managed to put on here. And I'm actually going to check my rear just to see. Okay, yeah, there's nothing over here. So I'm going to tap F again, and I go back into the upper front and finish loading this stuff on. And again, I'm just rapidly clicking on the Q key on my keyboard to make the turret feel better, because you have different modes. You have 3, actually. You have this kind of like drag mode where it'll go to where you stop your mouse, which I don't know. It's kind of weird. And then you have like your actual VJoy one that a lot of you are familiar with, where it'll just keep spinning. And then you have the mode in between where it'll stop where your mouse stops. I still think that that is the least frustrating way to use it. So if you didn't know, now you do. You're welcome. Let's see, that's a little bit over another 3 minutes to load all this on while I've been kind of chatting with you and messing around. I haven't really been moving super fast or crazy. I'm just kind of being casual with it. So yeah, we just crossed actually 3 minutes right there. We just got a couple of small boxes left, and then we can hop down to the pilot seat and carry on to the next place. Okay, and checking our contracts, it's waste going from Stanton Gateway to Nix. I don't think anything else we have is waste. So that is actually easy to keep track of. Perfect. All right, taking note, we are hopping in the chair at 51 minutes and 30 seconds into the recording. Now, because of the way we parked, I actually can't see all of this too well, so what do we got here? This is the waist, okay? Let me figure out how I want to do this. What we'll actually do, we'll put the waist on the lower front. There we go, because now I can see all this. This is perfect. Pull this in, little rotate, slap it down. Same from up here. Give it a little rotate. You can see how much control authority we have now over these boxes, which is what makes this so good. This is also one of the reasons that I was okay with switching over to the Ironclad Assault. I can still carry so much cargo in that ship if I want to, but my Ironclad is my carrier ops type of ship. It's not my dedicated cargo hauler. That's what I got the Hull C for. And I like to put my actions where my mouth is, money where my mouth is, however you'd want to think about it, by actually showing you that I do this, how I do this, and what I actually think of it. I will probably not use Autoload even when it comes back. That might sound crazy to you guys, and you'll be able to hold me to it, because we will definitely have Hull C live streams. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff. I just don't think that Autoload is necessary. I do think that it needs to be fixed. Please don't confuse my words here. I do think that Autoload absolutely needs to work. It is a function in the game for a reason, and it needs to get addressed. That is not the same as me saying that it doesn't break the ship. I think two things can be true at the same time here. Autoload needs to get repaired and fixed and working properly, and it's also not necessary to have a massive amount of success in this vessel. Hopefully that at least makes sense to you guys. If we already got the waist loaded, now we're just doing the carbon. I will admit, your loading time is going to get a lot longer if you're doing a whole bunch of smaller boxes, like 8 SCU boxes. That is something to keep in mind for your sanity. We're actually going to switch back to the aft lower so we can see these boxes and move them over. Well, we can only go so high, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to move these up this way so that they can be seen by the front turrets. And even that doesn't add a whole lot of time, you know? You have your ability to manipulate these as you need to. They could do a better job of how they place, you know, the ways to get into upper, rear, lower, all that. I do have buttons also tabbed for, like, getting into the next turret, but it only works for 3 out of the 4, which is frustrating. All right, can I grab this, please? Thank you. Aim accuracy on your tractor beam is actually pretty good, too. That's mostly me, you know, skill issue problems. Okay, let's see. I'm going to tab here. Okay, so that's aft. That's front lower. That is aft top. I don't have a way to tab to the upper top, which is actually where I want to go now. So I'm going to go back here and then hot move it over here. And we do have a ship coming in. Let's watch them real quick. Who is this? Can I scan from here? I can't. I don't get any info on what that is or who that is. Looks like they're going into a hangar though, so we should be okay. All right, so I'm going to unselect that. And we are just going to finish unloading and get the hell out of here. And by the way, it is now 56 minutes and 40 seconds in. I don't know where we started there, probably 5 minutes or so. I did a bit more talking and box shuffling there, so that load took a little bit longer. A lot of folks, too, I think, get it stuck in their head that if they use the Hull C, that they're doing 144 32 SCU boxes every time they unload or offload. Please get out of that mindset, guys. It is not realistic. It is not how this actually works. You are not going to be fully loading and fully offloading the Hull C every time, unless you're choosing to manually do commodities, which I wouldn't do. I mean, hauling is so much more money. Unless you just like trading, that's up to you. It's going to be a lot more tedious because you got to send stuff to the elevators since you don't have the autoload function, and you also have the risk of using your own money, and you're going to be loading a lot more boxes than you would in these cargo missions. But even then, you know, you can load a certain amount that you want for trade, and it could probably be a really good time. For me, I stick to hauling. It's what I enjoy doing out of this, like contracted missions like this. But you can definitely make a killing doing commodities runs. And even so, fully loading 144 32 SCU boxes to this thing is maybe a 25 to 30 minute endeavor. It's not as long as you think, especially if you get good at using the ship's tractor beams. But if you're loading that many boxes, you chose to, because you definitely don't have to. And if it sounds like I'm being a bit pedantic or maybe mean-spirited to some of y'all who just really can't stand the idea of using the ship without the magic box, my whole point for this is to throw a little shade. It is to kind of, you know, tell a child that there's no monster in the closet. You know what I mean? It's not that bad. If you don't like hauling and you don't like throwing boxes and it annoys you, then you shouldn't have this ship anyway. People who just want to have that get-rich-quick scheme or whatever thing that we had before with the magic box, eventually it'll come back. For those who think that they then needed to go from that to saying, oh my god, the ship is worthless, useless, whatever. No, now you're being over-dramatic. That's what I mean by calling a spade a spade. Anybody who runs this ship the way I do, the way my buddy Hazard Shield does, Angie Frog, my boy Raging, that I haven't seen in a little while, I hope he's doing good. If you see this, buddy, I hope you're doing great. I hope work's not too crazy and you're having some fun. But But to those who actually run the ship, it's comical to see all the salt all the time around it, because it really isn't that bad. Hazard and I made like 14 mil in about 45 minutes together on this ship, which means that you're making about 7 mil in that time solo, or 14 mil in about an hour and a half. If those kinds of numbers aren't worth it for you, that's a personal decision. You do you, boo-boo. The rest of us are going to have fun hauling with this crazy ship that beats every other ship in hauling objectively right now in 4.9, even in 4.8, and before that, no questions asked. Hazard shield is here. We might have our Guardian if he's hanging out. Well, pun intended. Looks like he took a little damage. He might have been fighting some NPCs out here or something. Sure, our doors are closing. Awesome. Setting up the elevator is also good because you want to make sure you interact with the terminal. A lot of y'all should know by now, before you put anything on any freight elevator anywhere to turn in, touch that terminal first. Interact with it. That way you don't have your cargo just disappear right before you and completely invalidate all the time spent loading up and flying around. All right, we are popping in our chair right at the hour and 22-minute mark for the total recording. Offload wise, I like to just drag and drop right over. So if you're curious about the method to my madness here, I'm kind of putting all the small boxes down in that bottom right out of the way, pretty much dropping the large stuff in ways where I have the minimal need to rotate them. And this is just a time-saving measure that I have. It's probably not going to be everybody's method, especially because some people are a bit more organized or a bit more stickler about how they organize. I am not. I'm just here to get the job done. And I have my own methods for what makes the most sense, like getting the small boxes out of the way so they don't make stacking, or putting away the bigger boxes more of a pain than it needs to be. For the ease of visuals, I am going to kill my radar. That way, when I see the boxes, I don't get all that information crammed in front of me about what it is. So this will dampen my ability to see ships. I'm gonna have to use my eyeballs and just be smart. This cleans up the mess a little bit. So if you didn't know that, yeah, turning your radar off will clean up the visuals a little bit when you're trying to place boxes down. I still think that these beams could do for at least a 20% speed boost to when you're pushing in or pulling back, because the flat speed they move at is a little bit slow. It would make everybody's lives better, I think, if we had about a 20% buff to the push and pull speeds of all ships' tractor beams. Something that matches a bit more the speed of the max lift rifle. You know, when you don't have a standard scroll wheel, like your clutchless for free spinning scroll wheel, you can really get those boxes moving. Let's see if we can make that happen, CIG. I think that'd be a slamming idea. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And would that make you use ship's tractor beams more if they were a little bit faster? And no, I know some of y'all are gonna be in the comments about make them like the ATLS. That sounds horrible. That sounds absolutely horrible. If you were going to do that, an option to turn it on and off would be okay. Because can you imagine if we were ATLS tractoring this stuff and it was bumping into the Hull C as it pushed into our tractor beam and then like spun around and went over here all weird? Like, no way, dude. The ATLS having its tractor beam that way is fine. And if people want to put it on their MPVs or whatever, I mean, power to you. I've done that and I hate it. I can't stand it, dude. I absolutely hate it. So like, I don't want that. I just want these tractor beams to be a wee bit faster. All right, I think we might just have one or two more things that are slightly out of sight of this top tractor beam, so I'll pop into the forward bottom one real quick, but we just hit the 10-minute mark. Almost. We got about 20 seconds until we hit the 10-minute mark for this offload. Yeah, we got a couple things here. So, can I hit them? Yep. Awesome. All right, yeah, just over 10 minutes to offload all that. We'll see how much money we make. Once we hop out of this chair, we'll look at our wallet. I will have that last mission to take over to Nick's, but I don't really think that's necessary for the video. So we are just over 7 mil. We're going to see what about an hour and a half of gameplay did for us if I could let go of the ladder. Because we just crushed an hour and a half total on the recording, but I don't think I really started actually playing until maybe 20 minutes into the recording. We'll see. Maybe I can put it on the screen or something, or make a comment on how long it actually took. What's up, everybody? Real quick, Editor Kaz here, just for transparency to show you guys that, yes, this is the full recording for the video that we are watching right now, which was an hour and 36 minutes. And I was doing a lot of station walking around and prep work and stuff and, you know, restarting the game, shard hopping and all. So we started the video, got the Hull C out around 15 minutes, and we actually got up to start doing this haul by the elevators at about the 20-minute mark. So it was about 20 minutes before we actually got into it on the recording. So this is closer to an hour's worth of work, about an hour and 10 minutes. Thought that would be important for you guys. There we go. And the only thing left is the stuff that I have on that bottom spindle for Nick's gateway, which I think is another 1 million. All right, sending all that down. And here come the completions. If you're curious about the rep numbers that are on my screen or the extra information that I have, it's because I am running Mr. Kraken's star strings. So that is why you're seeing that extra info. Nothing too crazy, but it has been really useful for seeing where blueprints are, or how much rep you might be getting for certain missions. It's been a good time. So let's check this out, man. We got 11.7 now, so we just made 4.7 million. In roughly an hour and a half, and that was me not getting picky nor picking up all the missions that I could have, just picked up a handful for the sake of this mission. So that's a pretty effortless 4.7 mil we just made. On top of this extra contract we haven't finished yet, which is another 1.7 mil, which is just dropping off this waste over at Nick's Gateway. I'm gonna go do that on my own time. I hope that this has been an easy and intuitive way for you guys to understand the way I feel about the Hull C, and why I think it's important to distinguish between the ship actually being in a state of non-use or unusable versus it just not being the easy, get-rich-quick, magic box easy mode that everybody remembers it being or wants it to be again. We'll get back to that, I'm sure. I hope they do something for that it's not just as cheesy as it has been in the past. Maybe it takes a bit longer. Maybe it hits a percentage of your earnings or something. I don't know. I have no problem throwing crates around, throwing boxes onto the ships. It doesn't take very long, as you've seen in this video. And if you're curious, get out there and go hauling with it and try it out. The biggest thing that's going to hold you back is the performance of the actual shards right now with Red Wind line haul, and whether or not you're actually going to be able to get contracts. So in this shard, I think we're in 150 or 150 for the US. The missions are actually, or the cargo is showing up. So you're going to see your missions here. You're going to see all these that you have options for. Some of these are 1.2, some of these are 1.7. The problem in a lot of these shards is that when you get to the destination, the cargo isn't there for you to pick up, and that's a big bummer. So again, check that ahead of time before you pull out your ship and go to try to load stuff up. Check and see if your cargo actually is at the spot that it needs to be at. Like if you can get one at the station you're already on, like Gaslight or whatever, and then if not, jump shards and try again. Kovalex is still working just fine. It seems to be a red wind issue in Pyro for some reason, which really sucks. So I guess we'll see what that means going forward, but they are kind of intermittent. So if you find a shard where they're working, just run it, make that money, man. Plenty of great hauling ships in the game. The Hull C is the king, still the best, even manually loading, and it really isn't a deterrent for somebody like me and probably plenty of you to run that ship and just have a great time with it. That's all I've got for you today, guys. I'm gonna go finish off this load, make another almost 2 mil real quick, and I'll catch you next time.